Rita. Just give people another few minutes. We had about 80 register, but lots of people like to just get the recording.
Nice. Tell me.
Diana.
Oh, it's lovely to see who's here.
Yeah, amazing organisations, all the mahi.
Mm.
Nikki. It's really good that obviously there's a lot of more than one from each organisation. So that's really good because this is a focus on teams. Doing quite a lot of work with Women's Refuge at the moment. It's beautiful to see people from there. I think it's stabilised, Triana. Maybe we begin.
Okay, begin?
Yeah.
Okay. Morena Maria whānau. Lovely to see all your beautiful kanohi this morning. Before we start the session, I'd like to open us up with karakia. So, karakia timatanga ino i tātou. Haora mai runga, haora mai raro, haora mai roto, haora mai waho. Haora te pūtaki o tēnei kaupapa ki a pūrangi aho tātou i te wānanga me te kōrero. Tēnei te titi ake te pau haora ki te pūtaki o tēnei wānanga. Tūturu o whiti whakamaua ki a tīna, tēnā, haumie, hui e, taeki e. E mihi ane ki a tātou. Tātou kua whakakotahi mai ki te kaupapa o teams, Ngahere for the teams. Tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa. And I'll now hand it back to Louise. Kia ora.
Michelle, I think you're doing next, and then you'll pass back to me.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Tariana, for grounding us in that karakia. It was beautiful. So, call Michelle Tokuingoa. My name is Michelle, and I'm the Program Coordinator with the Centre for Social Impact. Would like to really welcome you all here today for our morning with Whitikoha talks, Ngahere for Teams. So this is a free program of workshops offered to the community sector by the Centre for Social Impact, and that's supported through Foundation North. To date, we've presented on a wide range of topics, including grant writing, collaboration, evaluation, and wellbeing. And you can access all of those recordings on the CSO website, and I'll pop a link in the chat shortly. So before we jump into getting started, can I ask you to do a quick poll? Let's see if I can multitask. Just launch. So hopefully you're seeing that on the screen. And this is just Foundation North supporting the series. So we're wanting to see how many of you grantees are coming along and taking advantage of our Te Puaha talks. So thank you for popping your answers here. Can see them coming on quickly.
And Michelle, just so you know, there's something weird with your sound. I think people can hear okay, but it's very, not that clear and a bit kind of raspy with a sound in the background. So just letting you know that. But we're just filling in this little form.
I'll hand it back over. That was the admin. So thank you so much, Louise. Handing back to you.
Thank you. Well, morena koutou. Nā mihi nui aroha ki a koutou, ko wai au, nā toi rawa ko Pōtake te whenua, nā tūhoi te rangatiratanga, ko Louise Mara tuku ingoa, nō reira tēnā koutou katoa. So beautiful to be with you all this morning. My name's Louise. I whakapapa to Tūhoi and was brought up in Te Urewera. And I also whakapapa to, I'm Irish, Scottish, French and Italian. So I have a lot of rivers in this being, and so much of my work, I think of myself as a braided river. It's kind of bringing all these rivers to kind of make sense to myself and my being, and to kind of work outside of me too, to be able to help bring people together in a more healthy way. So I work a lot in decolonisation and and also in helping teams and organisations kind of heal. I do a lot of organisational healing, and that sounds heavy, I know, but it's not actually. It's beautiful because we all get so many things that show up within our teams and organisations. So how do we clear those? How do we kind of have a healthy sort of te wā, the space between, and really help create spaces that all people can thrive. So we are going to introduce you today, and I think I see some familiar faces, to Ngahere for Teams. We ran this year, and some of you may have done it, I think. It'd be great to see any in the chat who have, Ngahere for individuals. And we'll kind of take you through that slowly today. But the individuals was really to introduce ha moments. And Tuihana and I, she'll reintroduce herself in a moment. And thank you for that karakia, Tuihana. We really take a connection approach to wellness and heart order. So connection to each other, connection to Papatuanuku, connection to your own sacred being. So there's quite a lot to bring online to bring our full medicine online. And so the ha moments were to create moments which are kind of pockets of joy and wellness in your day. And we really saw that as you fill you up to fill up your whānau, you fill you up to fill up your system, you plug yourself in to plug a system in. So we really work with kind of separation is really came out of colonization, but actually we work on the deep connectivity of everything. So that's what we did for individuals, and we'll come back to that. And we issued a challenge. And then this process we're doing 4 on how do we create healthy kind of ha moments within teams, and what can we do within teams to actually come into places that are really optimal for human beings to create from. So we'll just take you through that today. We provide you with a lot of inspirational material to help you, but actually you can always discard it and create your own. We're not saying you have to do anything that's not really working for you, and there'll be your own ways. So I think, we'll unfold all of that as we all through the morning, and we're going to do some moments together as well. But I'll let Tuihana describe a little bit more about Ngahere and ha and how we're working with those.
Thank you, Louise. Tauranga moana, maua o maunga, nā te rangi nui, nai te rangi, nā te pukenga e tau nei. Ko Tuihana o iha hau no tauranga moana, tauranga tangata, no nai te rangi, no nā te pukenga, no te arawa uku iwi no nā pōtiki toku hapu. No whitu o te rangi no tohu whakatiki no Tamapohore o ku marae. Kia ora whānau, my name's Tui Hana. We're here, hail from a beautiful place called Tauranga. I can actually see a couple surnames that I know are from Tauranga on this call this morning. And I think, I don't know Diane Woodhouse, but we're related to some Woodhouses back home. And the kuka whānau I know very, very well because two of my cousins are cookers. So I just want to mihi to those from Tauranga, but mihi to all of us. And lovely to see all your beautiful faces this morning. Thank you, Louise. It's been a bit of a morning whānau, and it's lovely to land here and be with you all and surrounded with a korowai of aroha that I feel is being reciprocated, but also we send to you. Ngahere, it's a beautiful kupu, and often that kupu is associated to the forest. And actually, a very close cousin of Louise, who I spend time with sometimes in the Whiranaki forest on the edge of the Te Ruera there. Chaz Doherty is his name. And he shared this beautiful whakaaro and this beautiful kōrero around the word Ngahere. And we were in a car and he said, you know, Tuiana, you know how people call it Ngahere forest? And I was like, yes, Chaz. He goes, well, it's much deeper than that kupu. He said the whakapapa of that kupu is the word Ngahere. It's about the interconnectedness of everything. So from a Te Ao Māori perspective, we know that as Māori, we are interconnected to the land, to all the atua that surround us, Papatuanuku, Ranganui, Tāwhiri Mātea, and all those around us. And he said, you know, it's that interconnectedness of everything. And if we do some reflection on where we find ourselves today, there's a little bit of a disconnect between ourselves and the Ngahere. And it's about bringing us back into that space and place of being connected, because we are part of Taiao, and Taiao is a reflection of us. So it's a beautiful word. And whenever I hear it now, I just think, right, that's right, the connectedness between everything around me. And then if I think about the word ha, actually another whanaunga of Louise's from Tūhoi, excuse me, Peikiriama, he shared that it's not just ha, but it's also he, the he, ha, and the ha of our breath. The ha as we breathe in, the he as we breathe out. But the word ha is around our breath. And when we think about that kupu ha, well, it's the essence of who we are. It's how we can exist on the living side of our world, because those that have passed before us are on the other side. But it is ha, and it's those moments of ha that give us the opportunity to be a kiato, to come to a place of feeling settled and peace. So those are the kind of, and whānau, I know different people have different meanings to those kupu, but I think it's always good to be and remember the whakapapa of those beautiful kupu, because each kupu within Te Ao Māori has this beautiful whakapapa to it. So I just want to acknowledge our tūpuna who've gifted us those kupu, and here we are today. Over to you, Louise. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Tui Hana. Yeah, so I'm going to now take you through a little journey of your nervous system. It's such a cool map to understand. So I'm just bear with me as we kind of go through that, because it kind of helps underpin what we're doing as well. And I've worked and trained for over a decade in collective and intergenerational trauma, and it's quite an amazing thing to really understand how often in our organizations kind of trauma's leading the culture or the way we operate. And the nervous system, and I work all over the world with the nervous system because everyone's got one and it works in a similar way. But you know, how do we kind of, because the busy highways, the forcing, the pushing, the busy, the rushing, those are all trauma highways. They're all kind of enforcing their contracted places in us, and we get overwhelmed, and we, so those are places that we want to heal, but we don't want to follow. So much of what we're doing is actually helping you and your teams come back into places where you can actually come back into this optimal place. So just have we'll do this kind of with ease. So we don't want you to work too hard in this session, hey? But have a feel in the last week, a couple of weeks, when did you feel the most connected, well, kind of safe, open, and really grounded? And just have a think or feel, what helps you do that? Like, what helps you come back into that place? Because while we all carry trauma, we're not trauma. That's not who we are. We all carry intergenerational trauma because of all the hurts in the past and the wrongdoings. But actually, we're not trauma. So I just want you to feel what brings you back into a place that you are mauri tau, mauri ora. I'd love to see some thoughts in the chat of what are the sort of things that actually work for you to come back into that place. Because that place is so vital for the creation of wellness in the system. Yeah, being in nature. Yeah. Tautoko that. Swimming. Yeah, same for me. Whānau. Yeah. Yeah, the spring sunshine. Yeah, beach walks. Grounding. Yeah. Well, grounding's connecting to the earth. Breath, walking dogs, walking in the Ngahere, friends. Yeah, connected to Te Taio. Yeah, beautiful. Laughing hand. I love that. Yeah, so have a look at what everyone's saying. And you see the wisdom's always here, hey, because that's exactly the sort of things that we need as humans that bring us back into, I'm not, because when we get into a separate place, that's when we're kind of in our trauma place. Yeah, going to my two, don't know why. And it's not different for teams. Teams also actually need to, we talk about resource and resource themselves frequently to come back into this place. Otherwise, we tend to get into another place, which I'll move on to. The other thing that really works for people to come into this place is music, sound, singing, all of these things can be super helpful. And workplaces, I'm not saying that with all of your workplaces, but a lot have become a little dry, and we kind of need to joy them up a little bit, even if your mahi's hard. Because this place of joy and connection is where we need to recreate the world from. So then we'll just talk about the other place of the nervous system. I'll show you a picture soon, but the other place is what we call the sympathetic. And that's when we're all of a sudden triggered and we're activated. And I lose my connection. And then I've got big emotions running, and I'm kind of in fight or flight, but I'm in fear, really. I'm in survival energy, and I'm not in my wisest, calmest place. I'm now in a different place. And just think about over the last week, when did you get into that place? Because we all do, and it's all intelligent. This place is actually the place of that needs healing. and the other place is the place that heals. So then we get into this place where I'm activated, and it's really important place of how we work with it, because otherwise, if we don't know how to work with it, we kind of trauma bomb each other, and then we're all stressed. So it's the place of stress and tension, and all of a sudden I'm disconnected from all that Modi Ora, Modi To. So love to just have a feel. If we're honest as humans, we hate this place. Like, so we want to blame Turiana. Like, Turiana, but actually it's happening in me. The triggers are happening in me. But anyway, just feel that place. And so many of our organizations and teams, we're often in that place and we don't know how to get out of it, which is why we're doing this work. And then we can spend the whole day in this place, and then we want to go home and self-medicate somehow to get out of it. And it's no wonder, because it's a painful place. But love to see any thoughts in the chat of what that feels like when you hit that place, and anything that kind of you feel kind of creates it. You know, so one thing that creates it a lot is too much pressure. Too many things on the to-do list, too many. But yeah, any uncertainty, yeah, can trigger it, like, oh, what's happening? Misunderstanding, yeah, when we feel I'm not safe, I'm not understood. Yeah, I can't think beyond myself and my emotions. Yeah, these are all so true. We needed a lot of aroha for this place. Yeah, stigma and discrimination, yeah. Overcommitting. It's a little bit of a current disease. Yeah. Not knowing. Yeah, and let's really feel the aroha needed. Yeah, that's so true. There is a focus on productivity versus connection, and I call that the disease of disconnection. Yeah, that's very true. Keeps you pushing. Yeah. We don't see that something else is possible. And we've all got to actually come into a different place to create a different world. Not feeling valued. Yeah, too much work, not enough whānau. Excluded. So we all know this place, hey? And then the last place, and I'll come back to it, is the freeze, when I'm just overwhelmed, numbing out, too much, self-medicating, lots of Netflix, like just anything, just not to feel. And we all do that too. And we need that. We need that as well. But that place just feels a little dead. It can feel a little dead, and I can't feel my body anymore, or my emotions. And I'll just show you the picture of all of this so that you can see it. I know we don't have too much time, but the bottom place where we're connected and we're in the flow of life, we're connected to Papatuanuku, you know, that is the ventral vagal. That's the only place we really recreate human potential in a new world. So we're going to help you find ways as teams to get back into that place. Because then there's the yellow zone, the sympathetic, I'm on fight, flight. A lot of organizations, this is also a place of competition. Their whole strategies led from here, their cultures led from here, and that actually is a place where we need to heal but not follow. So we need to come back into the other place. We need off ramps to actually rewire wellness, joy, wholeness, Modi Ora, Modi To back into our fabric of our organizations, and that creates magic. And the freeze, how do we, numb? How do we actually start to help people feel safe enough so things can come out of the freezer? And that's back into how we allow deep emotions at work without trauma bonds. So that's a lot, whānau, to go over. But I wanted to give you that because that's what we're using for these teams things, is helping you create off-ramps and come back into that connectivity, and also how you be with those charges of pressure, stress. How do we work with that? So that's what our journey is. And our first challenge for you is, because we issue challenges, is actually to start with your team to create what we call the 6x1, which is 6 times a day for 1 minute to pause and do something that brings you joy and ease and connection. And we're going to do a lot of connection with Papa Tuanuku, because that gives us access to our bigger body. We are all walking planet. This was our first stage that we did as individuals, but now we're actually going to give that all to you, and we want you to practice that in teams, and we're going to do some for you as a team today. You can choose to do that in any way. So you can choose that you all do it together. I'd love you to do it in your team meetings, at least 2. Helping people come back to that place means you've got connection and wisdom in the room. Or you can all decide a time you want to do it. Or I'd love to see cultures just practicing this together. So, yeah, it's a really important thing to create these off-ramps, digestion spaces, to come back into wellness. So we're going to do a couple of those. Tuihana's going to lead one now, and then I'm going to lead one, just so you get a sense. But are there any questions on just what I've talked about? We'll send you a document. Michelle's put it in there. And we're also going to send you the audio recordings for ha moments that you can use ours, or you can create your own as a team. Yeah, Lena, how do you practice these moments when not everyone is open to trying them? Couple of suggestions there is start with the willing. So see who is willing in your organization, because little pockets of connection actually have a big ripple effect. That would be one thing. The other thing is we work a lot with prototyping, saying, hey, I'm doing this kind of weird thing through Foundation North, and they want us to give this a go. Would you be open to give it a go to see what works and fails for us? So you kind of give permission for the failure. But prototyping then kind of iterates. Well, what would work if we actually created these moments of breath and wellness and connection? So those would be 2 of my thoughts for that, Lena. And this nervous system map is such a cool map for a team. I'd love we'll do a bit more on it. But where are we as a team? Oh, we've just gone into the trauma zone. We're all triggered and tense and upset. Whew, let's take some digestion. Let's support each other. Let's connect to the earth. And let's just hear how everyone is, without actually trauma bombing each other. But we'll take you through it over the journey. Any other questions? Am I making sense? Any nods? Or yeah, great. Because our workplaces, we don't want trauma to lead them. The busy highway is a trauma highway. Let's rewire ourselves off it. And I also want to say one more thing. When we really get into Modi Order, Modi Tau, the web of life, flow states are the most productive. they're the most productive, and most organizations don't get to them. So then they're trying to work harder, faster, quicker, but that isn't the place to do it. Anyway, over to Turihana. Lots of words from me. Aroha mai.
Thank you, Louise. We're going to do a aha moment, which I have to premise, from uncomfortable spaces comes great grace whānau. And I think that one thing that we often don't do, both as individuals but within our teams, and it's lovely to see He Korowai Trust online today, and I can see, I think there's 6 of them in that room, and they're there as a team. I think that that's beautiful. But this is, I think, a beautiful way of. I was looking at the whakatauki, and I thought, oh, can I just divert myself from the whakatauki for a little moment and share another one? And then I thought, oh, Turihana, but it's poipoia te kākano kia pōwai ai. So nurture the seed and it will bloom. We need love and care to nurture and realize our potential. When I think of the word pūmanawa, pū is the thing that binds us. It's probably, when I think about it, it could always be used in the same context as our essence. And then manawa is our heart. It's also nāko, but manawa is our heart. So it's what is the essence or the thing that binds us to our heart? He kupu Pākehā, so Pākehā, so to try and translate that kupu into English, it's your superpower. And what are your superpowers? Without being whakamā, just putting aside all the what other people may think or may say, what is your superpower? I'm going to share a funny little superpower with you, and you probably think, huh? But this is actually mine. And it's last week I went to New Zealand Fashion Week. I was really grateful and incredibly blessed. And I love kakahu. Like, if you could see my wardrobe, it's a bit OTT. And I love kakahu. And last week, as I dressed in all this beautiful kakahu and went to New Zealand Fashion Week, I felt in the essence of who Turihana was, and therefore in the truest light of my superpower, which was a social butterfly, which was talking to people, which was being there for all these beautiful Māori designers, which was just being gorgeous, really. Just being gorgeous. And I just felt like, wow, I'm just completely in my superpower in this very time, in this very moment. So, and I know that also one of my superpowers is the ability to facilitate. I'm quite aware of my role in terms of serving others. It's another superpower. It's actually a superpower of the oihia whānau, if I can call out my whānau. But what is your superpower? What is it for you? What is your superpower? Or you might have superpowers. And it's about taking that moment. And sometimes it's about writing that down. Maramatanga. Thank you, finally. It's about writing down what it is and putting it somewhere to remind yourselves. But as a team, it's great to understand each and every person's pūmanawa or power, because it helps us, superpower, because it also helps us to respect one another and to also know that some people's superpowers are going to shine here and others are going to shine there. Does that make sense? So I'm going to ask you to all take a moment, and I've just got to say that for wahine, think about your superpower, not your whānau, not your tamariki, not your rangatahi, because we tend to put ourselves like everybody else before us. So what is your superpower for you? Ka pai? Mine is definitely not te tautanga. I'm just going to own that. I'm not a girl that goes into the wharekai and picks up a tea towel. But you put me in the dining room to look after manuhiri, that's a superpower. So what's your superpower? What are they? And if you could put them in the chat, that would be lovely. And I'm just going to read some of them out. Oh, finally, kaitiakitanga o te pū o te manawa. Beautiful. Making things happen, listening, whakarongo. To be calm, to model calm, to bring calm. Oh, that's such a beautiful pūmanawa. Identifying people's needs and thinking creatively. Beautiful. Being helpful. Tūhonotanga. Oh, beautiful, Kath. Making things happen. Finding time to help people. Kai ora. Oh. Manakitanga. Non-judgment. Beautiful. Whakawhanaungatanga. Empathy. Creating beauty. Holding safe space. Yes, that is you, Michelle. It's beautiful. Ka pai whānau. Sometimes we lose that in the wee wawa. Being a reliable, safe, loving kohatu or rock for my neurodivergent kōtiro. That's beautiful, Anna. Cooking. Well, Edward Man Alive, I quite like Kai. So that's lovely to know cooking is such a pūmanawa. It's beautiful. And Kai is such a beautiful thing because it can be shared with so many. So I just love you to, I like to sing, and if there's something I always like to remind us identity, remind us about, and I just want to leave this with you as I pass you back to Louise, is that I would encourage you to write your pūmanawa, draw your pūmanawa, have your pūmanawa on your phone, wherever it may be, that reminds you every day of your beautiful superpower. And then as a team, what are the superpowers of your team? And how can you bring that together? He korowai trust, saving lives and creating futures for homeless people. We make it to all of you. He kakanoa hau, I rui amai, I rangi hatea. 'Cause I can never be lost. I am a seed born of greatness, descended from a line of chiefs. He kakanoa hau. So if we think about it in the context of our tupuna, although our ancestors and those that have come before us, we have been fortunate enough to carry their superpowers with us and also create our very own. So moments when you're in your teams, when you're by yourself, is to remember those superpowers and those pūmanawa that you hold, and take a ha moment to remember those and to reflect on those. Kia ora whānau. Over to you, Louise.
Kia ora, Rihana. Yeah, and so much of our job together as teams is to release people's essential nature and quality into the whole, help them, I call it their medicine, help people all bring their full medicine. And it's nothing to do with role, it's actually to do with that they can really bring themselves. So I'm going to offer another ha moment, and mine's all around grounding. And I'd love you to do this in groups or in your teams, and you can use it as part of the 6x1. But people come into meetings, they hurtle in, they've got so much from the last one, they don't get to digest. So I'm half here, half not here. And we don't really help people connect back to themselves, to connect back into their essential place and their connectivity to connect to each other. So we really want to sort of offer these invitations to get off these off ramps of stress and pressure. And these small moments, like 6 by 1 is only 1 minute at a time, and 6 times a day. It's only 6 minutes to rewire wellness into your team and organization. So let's do this. So you can either close your eyes or keep them open, up to you. We're going to come on the inside of our skin and into our tinana, into our bodies. I want you to approach your body like a sacred site, like we all are part of Papatūānuku. So we enter into ourselves sacredly, softly, with curiosity. There's so many pumanawa, actually. And take a moment to feel your breath. Beautiful rhythm that's been with you since you were born. And see if you can focus not just on the process of breathing, but actually the air that comes in. The air that comes in to fill you up and nourish. It gives the much needed inner space that we need. It's like the air can help metabolize a lot of pressure and give you some space. Just notice if that air, as it just arrives through your body, it's a gift. It doesn't say whether you've deserved it or not. It doesn't care. It actually just comes into you with aroha. It's a pure gift. Just receiving gifts of Ranganui, the air. And then let's just feel that you have legs and feet. It may sound silly, but we forget that we have legs and feet when we spend a lot of time in our head. So just feel these beautiful trunk-like things. Legs, your feet. Then we synchronize to the whenua we stand on through our feet. And then we have such access to so much nourishment and flow. So I want you to imagine that roots come out your feet, down through the floorboards and the structure of the building and down to meet Papatūānuku herself. When your roots meet her, sometimes there's a little bit of a pullback because we often don't know how to connect. So I want you just to imagine that she pulls you down with gravity. I think of gravity as the love Mother Earth has for us, and that she actually pulls your roots down into her, where they grow big and thick and hairy, and they go kilometers down, till they come to a warm resting point. It might be 100 kilometers into her belly. And as soon as we enter this territory, kind of if we can develop the sensitivity to have access to this beat and pulse. It's slower and full of nourishment. So I want you to imagine that you now breathe out the nourishment, the slowness, the healing up through your legs into the trillions of cells in your body. They all expand and become plump. And you breathe out tension, stress, pressure. Down through your legs, down through the roots. And she makes soil and compost from that. It's part of her pumanawa. And then we breathe back in the nourishment. We can breathe out anything we're struggling with, we're entangled in. We just breathe it down through our bodies and into the earth. Breathe up some fresh air, just like we breathe in the nourishment from the air. We breathe in this very beautiful, I feel it as such a kind of musky, gritty, earthy nourishment. Just do a couple of breaths in your own time. Just notice how you feel. Is anything different? Then you can leave your roots down for the day. Or you can bring them up, whatever feels better for you. I leave mine down. I put them in often during the day when I become kind of disconnected and up floating. Come back into these bodies and our breath. You open your eyes, just look around to see, we're not doing this on our own. These are fellow travelers for this challenge. We'd love you to come to all the 4 sessions, and we'd love you to have a go at all of this, and we'd love to hear feedback. And yeah, we've recorded it so we can send this out. I don't have a script, and you know, I really just want to move in that river with other beings to help heal this disease of disconnection. And if you can do this as teams, you bring the earth into your teams, into the room. People talk about grounding, they don't know how to do it. But grounding is connection to Papatuanuku. That is grounded. And I also work with a lot of environmental organizations, and they don't connect to the earth. And she came to me one day, Mother Earth, and said, nothing for me without me. And I thought that was so profound. So this connection is part of the mahi, almost the most important part. And it takes one connected person to be in the room, and it's in the room. But if teams can do this together, and these pauses and these connections, we actually start to recreate the world from the right place, not from the stressed place, which will always create more trauma. So those are our ha moments for today. We're going to send you the ha moments we did for individuals, and our challenge is give some of them a go as a little group or as a team, especially in your team meetings. We've got a different sort of framework for these. We'll send it out. But for the teams, we will have a whakatauki, and then a hononga or rongoa practice, so a connection practice, a medicine practice, and then a whakata reflection process. what worked for us? What might not have worked? What could we change? Are we willing to keep giving it a go? There's no downsides to being a restorer, a rewirer of wellness into your system for everyone. So any questions? Otherwise we'll start to close. And are people up for the challenge? Yeah. And we'll send you different ha moments each time for teams, but the first one is this individual package you'll get to just practice pausing, connection. Yeah, and love to hear any comments in the chat before you go of how that felt and anything else you might need so we can think about it for further sessions and questions. And back to, who am I sending it to? You, Michelle, I think.
Kia ora, Louise and Tariana. Every time I just feel like I was meant to be here and hear some of these extra little pieces to bring into my day. Hopefully my sound's okay now. I'll just be quite quick. So yeah, I wanted to thank you all for joining us and coming online this morning. To make sure that we are kind of delivering and continuing to meet the needs of the sector and all of you. We're going to send out a quick survey. I'll just pop the link in the chat now. It's just got 4 quick questions, finding out what you enjoyed and what else we could do so we can make sure we're meeting you. We'll also share out, as Louise mentioned, the recording and the 6x1 so you can start using it. So yeah, thank you everybody. Over to you, Tariana, to close us with a karakia.
Yeah, and just one more thing. Love to hear as you go to what the barriers are. Like Lena said, what if you don't want to do it? So, let's learn together as a learning, breathing, rewiring community. But thank you very much from me. And love to see the things a bit blissed, grounded, nourishing. Beautiful. Thank you. Tariana.
Kia ora. Thank you, whānau. Thank you for your generosity of sharing and your generosity of sharing your whakaaro and your kōrero, your thoughts and your words. And I'm now going to close us with karakia. I'm going to sing us out. I'm in a bit of a singing mood today. So I'm going to sing us out. Kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te ata whai. O tō tātou ariki a ihu, karaiti. Me te aroha, o te atua nui. Me te whiwhina tahitanga ki te wairua tapu. Ake, ake, amine. Ake, ake, amine. Tūturu o whakamaua kia tīna, tīna. Haumie huie, tae ki e. Go well, be well, and much aroha from us to you and all your teams. Kia ora. Mwah.
Thank you. Beautiful. Ka kite.
Ka kite.